Welcome, everyone, to the program. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. We got a lot to cover today. Van Hollen did this country a great favor, helping us expose this MS-13 terrorist member by getting his meeting. I tell you, this president of El Salvador is brilliant. I mean, this guy's MAGA through and through, and very smart. And Van Hollen exposed some things about this MS-13 terrorist that I don't think he meant to expose. But, you know, he's a Democrat, so he's a total clown. So we're going to go through all of that. And, of course, today is Friday, which is Open Phones on the program. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Open MAGA Mike Friday, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You're not limited to the topics and stories that I bring up. The show prep is up to you guys. And the number to call in toll free is pinned in the chat. That's right. We'll be on the air live shortly. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and you are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Now, if there's a right way and a wrong way to go, the Democrats today will always take the wrong way. You would think that the Democrat Party is actively trying to bring about the collapse of the Democrat Party. And God bless them, that's what we want them to do. We want them to keep making the wrong decisions. But this idiot Democrat Senator Van Hollen has helped us out so much. And this brilliant president of El Salvador has trolled Van Hollen and the Democrats over this MS-13 terrorist like no troll I've ever seen. I mean, this president of El Salvador is so smart. He's a great ally of the United States, of course, and this is the greatest ally this country has ever had. This is just a beautiful thing. I want to go through this article that's in the New York Post this morning. It's the lead article in this morning's New York Post. Alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Garcia seen sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen. Now, we've been told that this guy who, according to his wife, beat her up multiple times, beat her up bloody, bruised her, ripped her shirt off, shoved her, hit her with a boot. I mean, he's just a bad dude. But I have had, I don't know how many people have called me this week, these liberal idiots on the program, and have said that he's in a gulag. Really? They have margaritas in a gulag? I don't know if this is a gulag or is there a sandals resort in El Salvador? Because that's where it looks like they are. Back to the New York Post. Alleged MS, they gotta say alleged, right? Alleged MS-13 gangbanger Kilmar Garcia. Now, what kind of name is Kilmar? Was seen sipping margaritas with Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen Thursday amid his high-profile deportation battle, according to photos shared by the Presidente of El Salvador. This guy, this president of El Salvador, I love this guy. I love this guy. I really do. The El Salvadorian president shared 3 photos of the Democrat Maryland lawmaker meeting with Garcia, who was deported to their mega prison down there last month, lounging in the country's tropical paradise with what appear to be salt-rimmed drinking glasses containing an unknown liquid and a cherry. Are there any drinks that you put salt on the rim other than margaritas? I don't know. The president of El Salvador is trolling Van Hollen and the Democrats and the world defenders of this MS-13 guy who beats his wife, according to the wife. And the president of El Salvador posted this to X with the photographs. Kilmar Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Yeah, I mean, these photos, this is like great for tourism in El Salvador. I almost want to go myself. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, this is the president of El Salvador on X. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody, the president said. And he, of course, has said he has no intention of letting him go. Van Hollen, the Maryland Democrat senator, traveled to El Salvador this week to push for the release of this MS-13 terrorist wife-beater. And you can look at the photographs. Now, what Van Hollen revealed, we got photographs of Garcia. And internet sleuths, you know those internet sleuths, they get them every time. They've got photographs of his arms and hands. And on his fingers, he has a gang tattoo. And this is not a fresh tat. Okay? The tattoos on it, the tattoo on his finger has been there for a long time. You know, I don't have any tattoos. But I was going to get a tattoo wedding band years ago. And I even went to a tattoo place, and they told me not to do it. They said, you get tattoos on your hand, over the course of time, they fade because they're exposed to the sun, and you're using your hand and everything. So you can look at this guy's gang tat on his fingers, and he's had that tattoo for years. He's probably had it since he was a teenager, and it's POSO, which is Pozo. I don't know. Me and the Spanish. The tattoo Pozo, and internet sleuths, they saw this. They did some investigation. The tattoo Pozo, P-O-S-O, if there's another way to pronounce it, let me know, is used in prison and gang context. Its meaning can vary depending on the specific gang or prison setting. It is generally associated with a specific set or faction within a larger gang or prison group, or to signify a connection with a particular culture or historical movement. So here he has an MS-13 gang tat on his fingers, and it's an old tattoo. So now we have even Garcia letting us know that he is MS-13, which is a terrorist organization designated through an executive order signed by our favorite president, Donald Trump. So then last night on CNN, Caitlin Collins, who's an idiot, and she also is rude and has no lips, she had Tom Homan on last night, and he cleaned her clock talking about this MS-13er. Listen.
I've seen some people look at this and say they're worried that the stance of this administration when it comes to this is that if someone is deported by accident, that they have no responsibility for them once they are in the custody of a foreign government. What would you say to that?
Well, they're in the custody of El Salvador. He's an El Salvadoran national. He was born in El Salvador. El Salvador has him in custody, and El Salvador decide what happened to him. I mean, again, the El Salvadoran president made it clear he's not going to release him. So again, I'm going to go back. The DOJ, they can fight this out in the courts. I'm not a part of that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. So we'll let the courts, decide what the next steps will be.
Even though it was a U.S. immigration judge who said the one place he can't go is El Salvador. I mean, he could have been deported literally anywhere else.
Again, we can keep going back and back, but again, that was years ago. Country conditions were different. That gang no longer exists in El Salvador. He had been designated a terrorist since that time. 2 different federal judges said he's an MS-13 member. A police department said he's an MS-13 member. ICE data shows he's an MS-13 member. El Salvador says he's an MS-13 member. As you know, MS-13 has been designated terrorist. The case has the facts of the case have changed since that first decision. So again, I'll leave it up to the DOJ to argue that case in court, but that is where I stand, and that's my belief.
Yeah, and now Garcia himself is confessing through the tattoo on his fingers that he's MS-13 as well. So, I mean, these lefties, you hear them calling me all week and Caitlin Collins and all these other idiots in the pundit class. They go around saying, well, where's the evidence? You give them all the evidence. DOJ says he's MS-13. Local police says he's MS-13. 2 federal immigration judges say he's MS-13. MS-13 members say he's MS-13. He's got an MS-13 tattoos on his fingers. And El Salvador, his country of origin, also says he's MS-13. And then they say, well, yeah, but where's the evidence? Well, this is the evidence. I mean, yeah, but where is the... Let me tell you, Democrats always have had talking points, no matter what the issue is of the day. I've never seen such a stupid talking point as those that the Democrats have associated with Garcia. The own man's body ink is telling us he's MS-13 now. What more evidence do you need? That's a confession. Now, I want to remind you guys, today is Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Friday's show, you are welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind. It's open phones. The show prep's up to you guys. You don't have to comment on anything that I bring up or Steve bring up on the program because the show prep is up to you guys on Friday. And that's today. I can't believe it's Friday already. This week has flown by. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you are calling from. Now, the Sloman's free doorbell camera offer is still in effect. We got a new phone number, so if you want to take advantage of this incredible offer and get your free doorbell camera from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield, stand by because I'm going to give you the new number in a moment. So they're going to give you, with the installation of your Sloman Shield, a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone. Having this camera at your door is amazing. I have people coming to my house all the time. Yesterday, the exterminator comes. We have an exterminator that sprays the yard, so you don't get palmetto bugs and mosquitoes and things in the house. And I saw him out there. I got a notification as soon as he pulled up in front of my house. People come to your house, no matter where you are. You get the notification on your phone. You can see who is there. But that's not all Sloman's is going to give you. They're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Here's the number, the new number, 1-833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. Get your free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
I've seen...
Well, if you're welcome to call me. If you're man enough. Yep. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Torben, you say you're angry. Why are you angry? Why would you be angry? That photo, that is the gang tat. Mm-hmm. If you're on hold, hang in there. You're all welcome to call in. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free. Mm-hmm. We'll be back live shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in seconds. Welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Call us on hold, stand by. I'm going to go right to the phones at 1-888-465-2631. We have now what amounts to Garcia confessing that he's a gangbanger with the finger tattoos. Lots of stuff has come up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark.
You know, I saw a video of one of the higher-ups in that El Salvador prison administrative staff that he studied the tattoos of the prisoners for years, and the tattoos show the rank and the crimes that these gang members do.
Yeah, well,
that's
true.
Rank.
Well, tattoos tell a story, and this guy's tattoos telling us that he's a gangbanger. I think the tattoo can be taken as a confession.
You know, the people that hate Trump, if they saw the truth and knew what Trump is doing for America, they'd be shocked. But they're so brainwashed by the fake news that all they know is anger and hate.
That's right. That's right. You know, I thought yesterday we had this tragic shooting at Florida State University in Tallahassee, and I thought the Democrats might use that as a way to get them out of this hole of defending this terrorist MS-13er who beats his wife. But no, they're still stuck on this guy.
You know, the Democrats, they won't waste a disaster or something bad for their advantage.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Montana Mark, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is John. How you doing this morning?
All right, John. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm in Virginia right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to call, and one of the points that's kind of been bugging me a little bit lately is not much talk about George Soros and his manipulation.
Well, you know, it is open phone, so we'll talk about it for a moment. But see, I think one of the things we learned with Doge, when Doge exposed USAID, okay? USAID was giving many millions of dollars to Soros. And he was kind of, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but he's more of a front man for the USAID people than we realize. USAID was funding a big chunk, maybe even the majority of all the stuff he was doing. He wasn't using his own money. So when Elon Musk took down and exposed USAID, it was a significant blow to the Soros people.
Okay. I would have to agree. My only counter to that would be that Soros it's been proven that Soros manipulated England's currency.
Yeah, well, this isn't England.
His use of NGOs.
Well, that was through USAID. You know, taking down USAID was a humongous blow to the left, more so than has been realized yet. It really has. We'll probably start to see it as we get more into the midterm election season. They don't have money now they don't have money to back their fake protesters and such.
Right. I definitely agree with you. I'm glad to learn that little fact. So you're pretty much convinced that it's more to do with our with USAID's corruption.
Yeah,
and
he's kind of like
everything
a front man, and USAID's the deep state. Hey, listen, appreciate the call, man. Take care. Yeah, that's that. I mean, that's I could be wrong. I'm not saying he's a good guy or he's gone away, but it was more USAID money than his that was being used for his bizarre things. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Hey, you were absolutely right about the UNICEF money and George Soros. He was getting a lot of money through the U.S. tax dollars to do his manipulation in the world. And I believe that, a big thank you to President Trump. He's not dumping everything that he knows, because if he did it all at once, America would be in shock of what's been going on in our government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. USAID is a deep state operation. It was,
That's right.
And they were funding a lot of this. And if you saw it, Marco Rubio just shut down this government agency through the State Department that was monitoring social media posts and such. So their whole operation on the left is being put out of business.
And they can't keep up with what Trump and his administration is doing. As soon as they go to attack him on one thing, they're on the 3 or more other things, and they're beside themselves. And the mainstream news media has almost been silent.
Now this Garcia meeting with the Democrat idiot Senator Van Hollen yesterday. Now we've got the gang tattoo on his fingers. That is an old tattoo. I mean, I think the tattoo is a confession from Garcia that he's a gangbanger.
Oh, there's no doubt this guy is a murdering, raping, illegal piece of trash. I mean, how can a U.S. Senator be allowed to go to advocate the release of someone like that and not be called and censured by the Republicans?
Are you kidding? Van Hollen was humiliated. The president of El Salvador cleaned his clock and totally trolled him. Sitting there sipping margaritas at a El Salvador vacation resort. The tattoos on the body being revealed. He looks great. They've been saying he's in a gulag. No, this is a beautiful thing. And
it is.
And Van Hollen was totally trolled by the president of El Salvador yesterday. He looks like an idiot meeting with him.
Am I wrong saying that he can be censored for what he's doing for a non-American citizen?
Mm.
Why can't he be censored? There's no reason for him to have a voice anymore.
Yeah.
For advocating for someone like that.
Very
over
strange.
A U.S. murdered. It's very strange that something hasn't been said.
Yeah, it is. All right, Jeff. Good to hear from you. I appreciate the call. Well, we've started off pretty good with the calls. Keep them coming. Remember, it is open phones on Friday, open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game on Friday's show. The number's toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. There's incredible specials at MyPillow.com, and here we have Easter Sunday coming up. Mike Lindell's very famous for wearing that cross. The Mike Lindell cross, which is available at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, you can get the cross and a necklace for 20% off right now with our promo code Kane. It's a great cross. You will love it. There's a version for men and women, and it's 20% off. You get the cross and the necklace. And don't forget, there's this new, Mike Lindell has this new energy drink, Rev 7, and you can get a free pack with our promo code Kane, of course, Kane. You can get a 3-pack of the new energy drink for free at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane. The closeout sale continues on the Percale bed sheets, $25, any color and any size, whether you have a twin, queen, king, California king, split king, whatever size, $25, no matter the size or the color. There's 11 different colors to choose from, and it's an incredible deal. You can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, not just the ones I highlight. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour and be back after this. If you're on hold, hang in there. We will be back shortly. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday, open phones. And, well, I'll just go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, Richie.
Good Friday to you, my friend. Happy Easter to you and your wife. I hope she's feeling better, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Here's the deal. Why? First of all, this is going to be an attack on Greg's profession. Greg, I know you're listening already, and he's going to call me ignorant and whatever. But this you got to figure, why are the Democrats doing this with this one guy? And you listen to their talking points. I mean, they're setting themselves up, and their talking points. It's all about process. And then President Trump has been trolling all of these idiots, saying that he wishes he could send some American terrorists down there.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a troll. But they're too stupid to know it's a troll. I mean, Brian, this is incredible to me. So the bottom line is, why are they doing this? Well, if they right in your own neighborhood last night, there was a nonprofit that had all immigration attorneys. I saw it on the news last night.
Yeah.
All immigration attorneys. There was a big thing about how this administration is grabbing people off the street like they used to do in Siberia and send them to Siberia and Russia. This is the narrative.
What they were doing in Russia was picking Russian citizens up off the streets of Russia. We're picking up criminals that are terrorists or in the country illegally. You know, I mean that's not the same thing. And you know, I'll tell you, Richie, the answer to why they're doubling down. I thought for sure with that tragic shooting in Tallahassee, they would pivot to that. You know, there's that shooter in Tallahassee. There's even a photograph of him in a MAGA hat, okay? That lunatic. So I thought for sure they would take that guy and use that to pivot away from this stupidity, but they're quadrupling down on it. Even Mrs. Clinton is involved in defending this guy now.
Yeah, but you know why? You know why they're defending this guy? And this is why I'm bringing up Greg, too, and his profession. How many people did President Trump's, and I believe his number, about 20 million people came in here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they're all over the country. Have you ever got, hey, people out there, you relate to this. Anyone out there ever got a traffic ticket and wanted to take it to court? A simple traffic ticket would probably, if one lawyer doesn't show up or they decide a witness doesn't show up, they could delay it. It could take as much as 6 months before your case comes up in front of a judge. Now, they got these people coming in here. What do you think they're trying to do? They're trying to gum up the whole damn system where they want every one of these people before they're deported to go in front of a judge, which is this is all they're doing.
They went 30 million. Yeah, and see, what they're telling themselves is, well, Trump's only going to be president for 4 years. If we can delay everything, he'll be out and things will be back to normal, and the rapist and terrorist will have free reign in America. Do you remember, you mentioned the traffic court. Unfortunately, the state of Florida corrected this. But back in the 80s, even in the 90s, if you got a ticket and you would call and postpone your hearing, you challenge it and postpone your hearing, and the cop didn't show up, it would automatically be dismissed. Remember that? Oh my gosh. I mean, everybody used to do that. So you would just, and I can remember I went to court on a ticket like over a year after I got it once, and the cop didn't show up, boom, dismissed. But unfortunately, they corrected that loophole in the traffic court system. You can't do that anymore.
But these immigration lawyers, you know what they had at that meeting last night? They were interviewing them, mostly female immigration lawyers. And one says, I've never seen anything like what's going on in this country right now.
Yeah.
We're actually giving instructions to people that are here illegally.
And terrorists. Terrorists and wife beaters.
If they have any children, make provisions in case mommy and daddy get picked up on the street and they're never seen again.
You know what it's like, Richie? You know what it's like, Richie? It's like they have a fetish. Like these lunatic women that marry the Menendez brothers or serial killers and stuff that are in prison. You hear these stories all the time and everything. It's like they have a fetish for criminals. I mean, look at this Luigi guy that they're, by the way, I'm going to be on Newsmax over the weekend. I recorded an episode of one of their weekend programs yesterday, and we were talking just about this. They were asking why the Democrats are doing this. It's a fetish. They love criminals.
Well, it's not just that. You know what it all comes down to? It comes down to they want these people to vote for them because they've lost their base.
What, the illegal wife beaters? Here you have Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton came out and told Democrats to rally behind this wife beater. Here's a woman, Hillary Clinton, who is married to a serial abuser. She was abused and still is her whole life and marriage, and she's defending a wife beater. And Hillary Clinton will still tell you she's a feminist and strong defender of women. She's advocating for a wife beater. He beat her bloody on multiple occasions, hit her with a boot, drew blood from punching her so hard, gave her black eyes and bruises on her body. And Mrs. Clinton's defending this guy? Come on.
Yeah, Greg too, by the way, Greg too is going to probably call up and say that you need to give people due process. It's the Constitution, it's the law.
Blah, blah,
they can
blah.
take you, and if it was you. In other words, their idea is if they want to just drag this thing out forever. They don't want to deport these people, and they want to gum it all up.
All right, Richie, you're right. I appreciate it. That's right. They want to gum up the Cloward and Piven strategy, overwhelm the system until it collapses. That's it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Jerry. Jerry from Arizona.
All right, Jerry. What's up?
Hey, man. I just want to say, man.
Here we go.
I am so tired of these Democrats and how they are continuing to fight for all these illegal immigrants, these drug dealers, and all that, but they refuse to fight for the American people, and it's just disrespectful, man. Like, it really hurts. I don't know if it hurts you, but it hurts me just to know that our representatives aren't fighting for us.
Well, no, our representatives are. President Trump and the MAGA Republicans. Van Hollen and these Democrats aren't our representatives.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just a shame. And listen, as a black man who is voted Democrat mostly all my life, like when I started realizing the history of it, like I just couldn't do it no more. And I think a lot of us are waking up.
Well,
to
what
it,
about
and-
what about the
and
history? What about the history of the Democrats woke you up?
Well, of course, let's just talk about, slavery, Jim Crow, the civil rights movement, giving us these programs of food stamps, allowing us to be able to rely upon the government instead of being able to build upon.
Well, and I'll tell you, think about this. Every black man in America who was lynched by a Democrat, and every black man who was lynched was a Republican. And, when you talk about the social welfare, prior to Lyndon Johnson's welfare and the Great Society, the black family nationwide was intact. And then they passed these laws that you couldn't get the welfare benefits if there was a man living in the house. So they destroyed the integrity of the black nuclear family. We're getting it back now a little bit, but they've done so much damage.
Yeah.
They used to own black people, Democrats. They're terrible people.
Exactly.
Terrible people.
I'll be honest, it actually started seeping into not only just the black communities, but also other races. Now there's white men who are not out there taking care of their kids, and it's starting to seep into everybody else. I'm not putting this down upon the black people. We need to step up, but it's just like this system of, policies and things that they put in, it's only just ruined us, and we're waking up to it, man. I'm just getting into this politics, and I appreciate you getting up on here every day because, you're compassionate about it. You be talking your trash, and I love it. But you just keep doing what you're doing. Continue to just, wake people up and be able to, give us that life every morning.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. All right. Black MAGA from Arizona. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It used to be so rare to get a call from a black Republican. You would get, I'm telling you, you would get a call from a black Republican like once every 2 years, right? And now it's common. The Democrats have lost so much of the black vote. They really have. And they're not going to get it back. See, this is why years ago, a few years back, the Democrats were working so hard to take down all these monuments of these racist and Klansmen and Confederates because people were learning, like this gentleman that I just talked to, that all these racists, that, the Confederate generals and all that they're Democrats. They were all Democrats. And it's not that they were taking down these offensive historical things. They were trying to wipe out the racist history of their own party. And I often tell people this, and it's very important. Democrats have a list of grievances against this country that they think that the United States owes an apology for. Every single one of them was done by the Democrats. Slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, segregation, the Tuskegee experiments, that was FDR, Democrat, the internment of Americans of Japanese descent into concentration camps, Democrats. Every stain on American history is brought to you by the Democrat Party. And they're continuing to behave this way when you see them defend a terrorist wife beater. And so far as the explanation as to why they're defending him, it's really hard to say. There's many different reasons. All right, but again, today is Open MAGA Mike Friday. That's what we call our Open Phones Day. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's program. Oh, let me hit the wrong line. There you are. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is David from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I really agree with you, and I need to reinforce the point, and I think it would do well for the general public to actually get this in their heads that you are a giant cocksucker.
There you go, Mike. First dump of the day. I knew that was coming. There you have it. If you're on hold, stand by while we wait for the delay to re-engage. Isn't that nice? That's lovely. That is the Democrat response, friends. I appreciate that. Now, I want to take this moment, though, while we're waiting for the delay to build back up, to ask you this. Do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy? Neuropathy is so painful. It is torture. When we had those Al-Qaeda prisoners they were interrogating at black sites and at Guantanamo Bay, They should have just, instead of doing all that controversial waterboarding, if they would have given them neuropathy, they all would have sung like canaries. War on Terror would have been over in just a couple of months. It's that bad. And if you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy, you know what I'm talking about. But Lighthouse Medical in Pompano, they have a treatment for neuropathy that works. They have a treatment for neuropathy that lasts. Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 2.5 years ago. His neuropathy symptoms have not returned after over 2.5 years. They can help you no matter where you're located in America. They understand that if you're suffering from neuropathy, you might not be able to make it in person. So they can help you remotely through telemedicine. When you call them, I'm going to give you the number. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you could take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642 is the number. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. Yes. Welcome back, one and all. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones after the break. We'll be back shortly, guys. The delay is re-engaged. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. We're almost back from our break. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show on this open phone, open MAGA mic Friday. And the delay is re-engaged, so we'll go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you? It's Mr. Tahoe from Lake Tahoe, California. How are you doing?
Okay.
Just curious about what you guys think about the, freaking autism and curing autism.
What?
Stuff like that.
Well, I am in favor of curing autism, yes. Isn't everyone?
Yeah.
Who's against that?
I don't know, man. I mean, some some people think it's a gift, though.
A gift? A gift of autism?
Yeah.
Who thinks that? Lunatics.
Like high functioning autism's not all that bad, really.
Oh, really? Are you a high functioning autism person?
I am, yeah.
No, you sound pretty low functioning to me. All right, appreciate the call. Does he sound high functioning? Sounds like a lunatic, is what he sounds like. Yeah. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
This is Jim from North Carolina.
Hey, North Carolina, what's up?
Yeah, I just got a curious question about your dump button.
Yes.
Is it designed to block out the profane language that...
Well, on the radio, there are a bunch of words you can't use on the radio. So the dump button cuts out the profanity on the radio. Yes.
Yeah, because we hear all the...
Well, you can hear it. You can hear it on the online platforms because there's no restrictions there. But on the radio, you can't.
Oh yeah, because I'm watching you on YouTube.
Yeah, the dump button is the dump button's for the radio. You can't use, the words. You can't use them on the radio. All right, appreciate the call. All right, oh my goodness, another low functioning person. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Joe from Royal Palm Beach.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, good morning. Hope your wife is feeling better.
Thank you.
Pray for her. I don't know if you've seen, they haven't really put it on, but AOC and the rallies at them pro-Palestine, they were throwing people out, and they were out speaking Bernie Sanders. They couldn't control them. They have a serious problem. I don't know if you've seen that on TV the other day.
No, I didn't see that. I really kind of ignored Bernie Sanders and the weight-gaining AOC. She's gaining a lot of weight, AOC. And her eyes are very puffy. She looks like a drunk.
They say she's pregnant.
No, she's not pregnant. She's not pregnant. She's a drinker. Look at her puffy eyes. If she were pregnant, she'd be showing that by now. She's just getting fatter.
But they got a serious problem. They were shouting him over as they were throwing the protesters out. They were shouting him. Oh, he couldn't control the audience. They have a serious problem. They have a war inside the Democratic Party, which is great for us. That's like
the thing with these anti-Semites that support the Hamas terrorists, the guy that firebombed the governor of Pennsylvania's house is a pro-Hamas terrorist supporter lunatic, and he committed that act of arson on the governor because he's a Jew. And just yesterday, they go to the governor, and he still won't condemn. He won't condemn the Hamas that are out there who want to kill Jews, even after he was firebombed at his home. These Democrats are sick.
Well, that's what I said. They have an internal war. They hate Israel, but they can't condemn the terrorism.
Well, it's not. It's not Israel so much. They hate Jews. They're anti-Semites, like Candace Owens.
Yeah, listen, they have a war on it's like the MAGA. They're trying to split MAGA up. We're trying to say, oh, we can't support these people, and some of us are for it, some of us against it. No. We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
We have a very slight internal problem, but that's workable.
And you know what? And for all of you anti-Semites out there, and Candace Owens, Good Friday, Jesus is a Jew. Christianity is Judaism. So try to figure that out. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. It's true. Christianity is Judaism. Completed Judaism, some call it, actually. As we are coming up on Easter Sunday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. It's Joanne from Pamela.
Hey, Joanne.
I'm just wondering. These Democrats that want evidence of this Garcia's belonging to MS-13.
It's on his hand. He's got the gang tat on his fingers. So that's a confession.
Yeah. But that's not acceptable to them. What would be evidence?
Nothing. They got this idiotic talking point. Where's the evidence? You give them the evidence and they say, "Yeah, but where's the evidence?" I mean, they're insane.
Well, this is what I'm asking. What would they accept?
Nothing.
A stamp on his birth certificate?
If he confessed, if he confessed with an oral confession on television, they would say it was coerced. They would not accept anything. Nothing. There's nothing they'll accept.
Well, I would like somebody to ask them, what would you accept saying he's a member?
Yeah.
What would it be? That's all I've got.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, I like callers that know they're out of material. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Kenny from Palm Beach.
Hey, Kenny.
How you doing?
All right.
Did you happen to see the Newsmax interview of the former convict that outed Letitia James with all her list of problems?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it. I missed that.
It was good because now she can't claim that the Trump administration, or maybe Pam Bondi specifically, is doing retaliatory measures or whatever against her. This was a former criminal who, I guess, had some instructions, and he turned, his life around, but he was instructed by the FBI in certain measures on how to find things. But he is the one, according to the interview, that discovered these improprieties and, fraud, actually, with Letitia James' mortgage application.
Well, Letitia, I think Letitia's going to go to prison. This is hardcore fraud with big money amounts, and her signature are on God only knows how many documents. I mean, if you've ever gotten a mortgage, you've signed so many documents, and she's got a whole bunch of them she committed fraud with. So she's going to go to prison.
It's indisputable. I mean, it can't be like, well, I made a mistake. It's right there. So
yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
How can you make the mistake of saying that your father is your husband? I mean, come on.
I know, and it's all to her benefit, of course. So
yeah.
The other one is, she's declaring a Virginia home as her primary residence. There's also a tax, or a real estate tax benefit, with homestead exemption and things like that. So there's more things piling up.
Well, I don't know if they have home. I don't know if they, in Florida, I was shocked to learn that not every state has homestead exemption like we have in Florida on property taxes. But she's claiming residency in 2 different states. For fraud purposes, very illegal, and because of that, she's not even eligible to be the Attorney General of the state of New York. You have to be a resident of New York to be the Attorney General. She may be out of her job, but she's definitely going to go to prison, and she knows it. That's why she's panicked.
That would be awesome. The other one who's claiming residency in a different state is, of course, Shifty Schiff. But I don't know if...
Well, Congress is different. Congress is different. You don't have to reside in the state to be a member of Congress from that state. Congress makes the laws, and they make the laws so that they can break the law, right? So you don't have to live in the state to represent it in Congress. A lot of people don't know that.
If it's just one of the 2 going down, she's the one that would be the prize.
Well, I think Letitia's the easiest because her signature is on all these mortgage documents that she committed fraud on. So that's you can't defend yourself against that. All the documents are there. So she's the one I think they should go after first because there's so much evidence with her signature on it.
And she's screaming the loudest, so she's guilty.
Well, the thing with Letitia, she's a black female Democrat. She thinks she has immunity to do whatever she wants. And maybe she has for a long time, but those days are over.
I know. It's a great day.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I appreciate the call, man. Take care. All right. Well, the Open MAGA Mike Open Phone Friday has started off pretty good for the most part. Some good calls today so far. We got a couple hours to go. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll free call no matter where you are listening. 888-465-2631. I want to tell you again about this offer from Mike Lindell because I don't know how long this offer is going to be there. Mike Lindell's new energy drink, Rev 7, which has no caffeine and no sugar, so you don't get the jitters, you don't get the crashes. It's a very healthy drink. It tastes great. You can get an introductory 3-pack for free with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And also, there's incredible deals going on. The Percale bed sheets, I have these sheets in my guest room. They are spectacular. I've slept on them. And actually, since my wife's got the pneumonia, I've been sleeping on them for the last week. And they are so soft, so comfortable, so perfect. And right now, the Percale bed sheets, no matter what size or color, are just $25. So if you have a twin, you have a single, you have a queen, a king, a split king, a California king, whatever size mattress you have, and any color you pick, and there's 11 colors to choose from, just $25 with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Now remember, you can use our promo code KANE site-wide on all the specials, not just the ones I talk about. And you can also order by phone toll-free 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Okay, so we'll take our break for the top of the hour. When we get back, I'll go back to the phones. I got a lot of things to bring up, but as I said, it is Open MAGA Mike Friday, open phones. The show prep's up to you guys. You do not have to comment on anything that we bring up on the program today. It is open phones. You can bring up any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. The other 4 days of the week, you have to talk about what we bring up. But Friday, the show prep is up to you guys. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Call us on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be back right after this break. William, could you not spam the chats? And you mind? I mean, everybody saw what you said, you know. But please stop spamming if you don't mind. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in about a minute. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. Callers on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Now, if you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot. This idiot Democrat senator from Maryland, the dum-dum Van Hollen, was just trolled in such epic fashion by the brilliant president of El Salvador. So the president of El Salvador allowed this idiot Van Hollen to meet with Garcia, the Maryland man, and it looks like they met at the El Salvador Sandals Resort. They sat around and had margaritas together. And the president of El Salvador did some epic tweeting with the photographs of the margarita meeting. Kind of reminds me of that beer summit that Obama had. Remember that? With the college professor and that cop from Boston. Remember all that? Henry Louis Gates and the cop. And they've been telling us on the left that Garcia is in this gulag. He looks great, looks healthy. He's got fresh clothes. And we got a lot of photographs. Now we have what I would consider to be a confession from this so-called Maryland man that he's a member of the MS-13 terrorist organization, because he has a gang tattoo that is an old tattoo on the fingers of, it looks like his right hand. So, yeah, this is awesome news. So, or is it his left hand? Well, one of his hands. He's got the gang tat from MS-13. So I take that as a confession. And this idiot Van Hollen is too stupid to realize he's been trolled by this incredibly brilliant president of El Salvador. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
To you and everybody else. Okay. The one thing I'd like to bring up is this. There's judges that wants to have the government pay $1 million a day in penalties for not listening to him. That guy's got to get out of office. We got to get him out. He's dangerous. I mean, if the administration loses somehow to the next election, this guy's going to go after everybody that's in the administration now, and we can't have that happen. I mean, this guy's got to get out of office.
Yeah,
get out of that judgeship. Man, get that. He certainly he's not sane apparently. So I hate to be in front of him in court for anything else.
Yeah,
man, this guy is a wacko.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The other thing is, I just don't get this thing that the Democrats want due process for everybody. If somebody breaks into your house, so you're supposed to call the police, and then the police say, well, we have to get a judge to get them out of your house. No, you want them out of their house right now. These people are illegal, and Trump is following the law.
He's a member of a terrorist organization. Terrorists don't go through the criminal court system. They're tossed out immediately.
And even if that was supposed to be, how are you supposed to get these people out? There's so many of them. There's not enough judges.
That's true.
Like you said earlier, they're trying to just beat the clock.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right, Doug, I appreciate the call. Now, Hillary Clinton's gotten involved. I'm just blown away that the Democrats are still behind this terrorist wife beater, Garcia. We had a tragic, god-awful mass shooting event here in Florida yesterday at Florida State University. You know, I was really surprised. I watched that press conference with the local police chief and the local county sheriff, and I was shocked that Governor DeSantis wasn't there. The governor's mansion is right down the street from Florida State. Why wasn't DeSantis there? Was he out of town? I'm surprised he didn't fly back for that. It was very unlike DeSantis not to be leading that press conference. But that god-awful event at Florida State University, just a terrible event, I thought for sure the Democrats were going to use that as a way to get out of this hole they've dug themselves with this MS-13 terrorist wife beater. They're so deep, how do they get out? So they have this. The shooter at Florida State, there's even a photograph of him in a MAGA hat, okay? So, you know, they had a perfect out, or at least an attempt to pivot away and use that as a way to get out of it. But no, they're still sticking with Garcia. So here's Mrs. Clinton. This is in Breitbart. Hillary Clinton has thrown her support behind Kilmar Garcia, the accused MS-13 gang member, which is also a terrorist organization, an alleged domestic abuser. Alleged? No, he is a domestic abuser. It's not alleged. His wife went before a judge, detailed it. The judge found that he did it. So here's Hillary Clinton. Before the election, this is her talking, although her voice would be much deeper than mine. Before the election, I warned that there is no safe haven under authoritism, the former Secretary of State wrote on X on Wednesday. If they can ship Kilmar Garcia to a foreign prison accused of no crime with no trial, they can do it to anyone. Americans of conscience must stand against this now. Okay. He did have his day in court a couple of times, and he's committed all kinds of crime, right? Plus, he's a member of a terrorist organization. So if you're a member of a terrorist organization, you're out, especially when you're an illegal in this country illegally that's been ordered deported by the federal immigration judges. And Hillary Clinton defending a wife beater. Now, this story of Hillary Clinton is starting to go viral. It will be all over the place. They'll be sharing her post on X, you know. Hillary Clinton is married to an abuser of women. Bill Clinton beat women, was accused of raping women, groping women, assaulting women, and also took advantage and abused his own wife by putting her through all this crap her entire adult life. And for Hillary Clinton to come out and defend a wife beater, and, you know, in that same breath, if you had a conversation with Hillary Clinton about this, you know, she would still tell you that she's a defender of women's rights and hear them roar and all this stuff. But she is defending a serial wife beater because there were multiple instances. He gave her a black eye. He punched her so hard he made her bleed. He scratched her. He bruised her. He hit her with a boot. He ripped off her top. He shoved her. I mean, he just beat the living tar out of her multiple times, according to the wife. And Bill Clinton, with all those assault allegations against him that were very credible, the Paula Jones with the bloody lip, you should put some ice on that. Remember that? With Paula Jones groping Kathleen Willey. Juanita Broderick said that he raped her twice. I mean, this is nuts. And she's out there defending this and still thinks she's, a feminist icon. So what's going on with the Democrats? Okay, why are they defending a wife beater? Well, it's hard to say. The immediate reaction was just to it's Trump derangement, oppose anything that President Trump says, oppose anything the Trump administration does. I mean, that's the initial thing. But at this point, they're too deep into it. Now, I just want to mention Hillary Clinton's. Boy, oh boy. President Trump saved us twice with his first and second election because, this most recent election, these lunatics that are supporting these rapists and murderers were running the country. And Hillary Clinton obviously is an abused woman who is completely insane. And to have someone like her running the country, that would have been pretty scary, wouldn't it? I mean, when you see how insane she is, she's very angry at the world. But I want to just talk for a moment about this god-awful shooting at Florida State. You know, there's some kind of family drama. His mother, the deputy sheriff, apparently is a stepmother, I'm reading today. It's a little unclear. He used her former service weapon. And, what the liability is of her, I don't know. I mean, the sheriff came out and praised her, said she's got 18 years with the department. She's been a great deputy, yada, yada, yada. But if she knew her son was mentally ill and she didn't have her guns locked up, there's some responsibility there. But if, gun safes, if she had the gun in a gun safe, you got an adult kid at home, they probably know the combination to the safe. I mean, there's no way to fully protect yourself from that. But if you've got a child who has mental illness, like this guy obviously has, doesn't mean he's not guilty, okay, and he should go to prison. But you got a child that's mentally ill, you can't have guns in the house. Even if you're a police officer, you got to leave your service weapon at the sheriff's office. Can't bring weapons into the home of a mental patient. And, this is something we've seen happen more than once now. It's a pretty sad tragedy all around. I don't want to assign blame to the stepmother here or anything yet until we know more information. But it's a god-awful incident. They got a picture of him in the MAGA hat. So I expect that they'll start trying to blame MAGA for this. This is just a mental patient. I thought it was very strange in the press conference with the sheriff and the police chief. One of the reporters asked if he had autism in the press conference. I don't know where that reference came from, but I'll tell you this. I think already we know more about this Florida State University murderer-shooter yesterday than we know about the shooters of President Trump from last year, don't we? Isn't it interesting how little we know about them? Now, I want to tell you guys, it's Friday, and Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. Remember, appointments are never necessary, even on Saturdays. Start the weekend pain-free. Go see Dr. Appleton. His laser wave pain treatment works. There's no drugs, no surgery, no shots, no downtime. It's 100% painless, and it works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Arthritis, which Dr. Appleton rid me of. Arthritis, bursitis, work and sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck injuries, back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, and many, many more. Every type of pain I've ever heard of, the laser treatment treats. It works. He's rid me of pain 7 times with his laser away pain treatment. It's amazing. I finally retired my longboard skateboard, so I don't know if I'll be back in for treatment because that longboard was causing me a lot of trouble. I kept falling off of it and hurting myself. But appointments are not necessary even on Saturdays. Walk-ins are always welcome because Dr. Appleton knows that when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief, you need it now. So give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Go talk to Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain. We'll be right back. We'll be back shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, all right? I think that was some false reporting about the two guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show. There's some other top. If you're on hold, hang in there. It is open phones, open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game on Friday's show. Okay, the show preps up to you guys at 1-888-465-2631. But I still got some things I want to bring up, but you don't have to comment on. This is just a minor thing I want to bring up, and it's not something I would normally talk about. But Molly Ringwald, who used to be America's sweetheart, she, a lot of these actors, if you notice, they're doing a lot of these like Comic-Con-like appearances, and a lot of them, and people that you wouldn't do it. And it's the 40th anniversary of The Breakfast Club. And, out of those John Hughes movies, The Breakfast Club has a great theme song, all right? I mean, that's, But that movie, I go back and out of all those John Hughes movies, The Breakfast Club is the one that I can't really watch anymore because I've grown up. It's so stupid. But the theme song's very good. I like Pretty in Pink and I like 16 Candles. But The Breakfast Club just doesn't hold up. It's really stupid and juvenile. But it's true. And if it wasn't for the theme song, that would be probably a forgotten movie. But a lot of these actors are doing all these convention appearances. And The Breakfast Club, it's the 40th anniversary, and Emilio Estevez has joined the cast to do this national convention circuit tour. And the reason that so many actors are doing these conventions is the same reason that a lot of actors like Harrison Ford were endorsing Kamala. They're broke. Because of the streaming, they don't get residuals anymore. These actors used to make boatloads of money off of residuals, and they don't get residuals anymore like they used to. They've all dried up, and a lot of these actors, like Harrison Ford with all of his airplanes and everything, they're broke. So they're out there on the convention circuit or selling out to politicians. And what happens is they, because they're from Hollywood, they're liberal, and they get on a stage with a microphone and they feel like they got to go woke. And Molly Ringwald is out there attacking The Breakfast Club. Now, keep in mind, it's a classic American movie of my generation, The Breakfast Club, although it doesn't hold up. I like I said, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and, a couple of other movies of that time. But most of them I can't watch anymore because, you grow up and they're so stupid and ridiculous. But Molly Ringwald, she can't even act anymore. If you've seen her in anything, she's really a bad actress. She's starting to get her career back. I've seen her in one or two things. And what does she do? She goes out and insults her core audience, okay? She said at this convention, she says, The Breakfast Club is very white and doesn't represent our world today. What does that even mean? So here she is, desperate for money, doing the convention circuit with the other actors that aren't getting their residuals anymore for all these movies. They're doing convention appearances and making money off of signing autographs. and she goes out and insults her core audience that are paying way too much money to take a photograph and get her autograph. So these actors, they really should keep their mouths shut and stay out of politics. But Molly Ringwald, have you seen her? I just saw a movie recently with Keanu Reeves, and it's a pretty good movie. And she plays Keanu Reeves' wife in the movie, but she has like 2 lines, Molly Ringwald. Well, not getting your career back when you're out there going woke. But anyway, back to the politics, though. Actors are stupid people. They're just stupid, that's it. And when you're on a national tour, and most of the people that go and see the Breakfast Club cast are people like me, Generation X MAGA people. And she starts insulting the audience, she's going to be hurting again. And she can't get any acting work, really, to speak of, because she cannot act. Okay, now I want to get back to this. Governor Shapiro, this guy's a liberal jerk. It was rumored that Kamala approached him to be her running mate. And I'll tell you, if Shapiro would have run with her, she would have performed a little better, because he is the governor of Pennsylvania. She still would have lost. But he refused to be her running mate. I guess he saw the internal polling and knew it was hopeless against President Trump. But at the beginning of the week, there was this god-awful arson attack on Governor Shapiro's home with his family in it. And we find out, now immediately when this happened, the left started to get excited. They thought, oh, okay, we've got a MAGA crazy here, And it turns out the guy that committed the arson at Governor Shapiro's governor's mansion is pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, and it was an anti-Semitic attack on him because Shapiro is a Jew. So now listen to this. This is in Front Page magazine. A man firebombed the Pennsylvania governor's residence while Governor Shapiro and his family were inside. The man had a hammer and planned to assault him with it, which that's like a murder weapon to have a hammer, right? His motive was this. And this is what the arsonist with the hammer. The hammer is new to me. I didn't know he had a hammer. This guy's a monster. But this is what the arsonist said. Governor Shapiro needs to know that he will not take part in his plans for what he wants to do to the Palestinian people. Now, Governor Shapiro was asked about this and would not comment. Listen to this. Rather than to speak about what happened, Governor Shapiro instead launched into a strange word salad. He said this: I know there are people that want to ascribe their own viewpoints as to what happened here and why. I know there are people that blah, blah, blah. Okay, he doesn't want to say anything negative because the guy is pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian. There's so much talk since the Holocaust about why and how did the Holocaust happen. Endless college classes on this. There's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of books written about this. It's been a discussion that's been going on since 1945. How did the Holocaust happen? This is an example of how the Holocaust happened. Okay? You have a Jew who's attacked by an anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas, Palestinian hater who committed arson on the home where his family's sleeping, and he had a hammer to kill them with when he went in. And he won't condemn it because he doesn't want to alienate the Palestinian anti-Semitic support that the Democrats have. This is how the Holocaust happened. Governor Shapiro, textbook example of it. He's not only an idiot, he's a monster. And he should be screaming from the top of his lungs. Think about it. Think about it. Your home with your children in it, with your wife in it. Arson is committed while you're there with your children and your wife. The guy has a murder weapon. You find out he's pro-Hamas and you won't condemn it because you don't want to lose the terrorist support that want to kill Jews that the Democrat Party's at. This is exactly how the Holocaust happened. And I hope people call Shapiro out on it. He is disgusting. He's a disgusting man. And he's an embarrassment to Jews, too. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Now, today is Open Phones, Open MAGA Mike Friday. You're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind because Friday, the show prep is up to you guys. All right, our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hey, all right, you there? All right, hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
I'm here.
All right, I got you. Stand by. We got a couple minutes still.
You want to close that, Laura?
All right, hold on. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Good morning, Steve.
Good to be enjoying the show with you. You've been doing great so far. I was enjoying the Dr. Shapiro, not Dr. Shapiro.
Governor Shapiro. Yeah.
The Rabbi Shapiro show.
Governor Shapiro. Governor Shapiro.
Governor Shapiro. The Shapiro show. I got lost at the end, though. I got confused. What was the punchline of that?
Okay, I'll recap it because it's very important. It's a lesson in how the Holocaust happened. Governor Shapiro's a Jew, right? His house, a lunatic, lit the governor's mansion on fire while Governor Shapiro was inside sleeping. His children were inside sleeping, and of course his wife was inside sleeping. The lunatic also had a hammer that he planned on using as a murder weapon to kill all of them with. It turned now when the arson first happened, Shapiro and the media were very jazzed up because they assumed it was a MAGA person. Found out that the guy is a pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas activist, and the attack on the governor's mansion with the murder weapon and the arson is because Shapiro and his family are Jews. So Shapiro was asked about this, and he wouldn't condemn the guy's motivations because he doesn't want to alienate the. He said nothing.
What did they ask him?
They asked him to comment on the fact that this guy's a pro-Hamas Palestinian, and he wouldn't comment on it. So he gave a gobbledygook answer about other things. He was answering other questions. It was bizarre. And here you got a guy whose entire family, there was a murder attempt on him and his whole family because they're Jews by a pro-Hamas activist, and he won't condemn it because he doesn't want to alienate the Hamas support that the Democrats have. And I was talking about...
He's a liberal. What do you expect?
Well, he's a Jew.
Interesting story.
No, it's sick. It's a sick story, and the punchline or whatever. I was explaining that this is how the Holocaust happened. Jews stood by and said nothing while Chancellor Hitler and his Nazis were running amok. Next thing you know, they're running the country, and it got the Holocaust going on. This guy Shapiro is a disgrace. I don't know. Can Jews excommunicate people like the Catholics? I don't know. But
no, I'm afraid not.
If you could take his Judaism away, it would be a good move, you guys. But I don't know if there's a way to do it. Oh, my goodness. But it's pretty bad. Well, let's take a call or two, and then I'll recap some of the other stories of the day. All right?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Hi, IB in Broward.
Hey, IB.
Man, hey, just a comment really quickly. I do like the Breakfast Club for a Saturday morning. It's pretty funny.
Nah.
Anthony Hall, who went on to be with her in the other movie, Pretty in Pink, I believe. And I've been watching a lot of those things on YouTube lately where they show you what people look like back in the day. And I saw her like a couple of days ago, and it's kind of funny that you're saying how they have to make money these days, yet still leaning on the liberal side of it after everything they've seen being in the center of it. But you know what? Democrats are such hypocrites, okay? If they want to use it like a movie that was back in those days, on those times, we have a lot of black movies. You could just look at, The Substitute or The Principal.
Yeah, I know it's open phones, but I mean, just naming off movies is a little,
I'll move on to what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was trying to make the point of how they're hypocrites. That's how they changed Snow White. So you can't have it every time you're away. Remember when we could go back to Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima? They wanted the faces off the platter. We can talk about how hypocritical they are.
A lot of it is plain stupidity.
Yeah,
is what the problem is. I was watching George. What's his name? The actor George.
I need more than that. I need more than.
The guy who's a big Democrat.
Well, that's every actor. Oh, George Clooney. George Clooney.
George Clooney. Thank you very much. I was watching George Clooney, and I was shaking my head. He is absolutely, in my opinion, which is a qualified opinion, an excellent actor. I mean, he is wonderful. He's done some great acting. Films like, what's that great one where he plays hillbilly?
I hate that movie. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Great guy. It's a great performance by Clooney. But when he opens his mouth on politics, he just has no mind.
Well, he only sounds brilliant when he's reading words written by an educated writer. When he goes rogue on his own, he sounds like an idiot.
Well,
here we go again.
All right, appreciate the call, Ivy. And the thing with George Clooney is also his family were very Rosemary Clooney's his aunt, so he's one of those Hollywood nepo babies. He didn't really work his way into Hollywood. What?
How's he related to Rosemary Clooney?
Rosemary, he is Rosemary Clooney's nephew.
Wow.
So so his best movie though, George Clooney, is a B movie that a lot of people haven't seen, The Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Not The Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the forgotten sequel, The Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's my favorite Clooney movie. But typically I just don't care what actors have to say about much of anything. I just mentioned the Molly Ringwald thing because I was a fan of hers. growing up, because her movies are like the movies of my generation, all those John Hughes movies. And you hear these actors speak, and they get off script, and it spoils the performance. I'll tell you another one. Have you seen this police body camera footage from Gene Hackman's house?
No.
Oh, Steve,
I've been following it in the paper, but I haven't seen the footage.
He was a hoarder. He was living in total filth and trash like a hoarder. And I saw some of it, and I turned it off. It spoils his performances in the movies for me. I really, you know what I mean? Because he was a tough guy in the movies, and he had a lot of great movies, Gene Hackman. I love Gene Hackman. And I saw the way he was living, and his wife was a lot younger. There was no excuse for that. It was like that show on TV, Hoarders Buried Alive. That was his house. I could not believe the conditions that Gene Hackman was living in. And when you see these actors outside of their performances, it spoils it. I can't watch. I don't know if I'll be able to watch his movies again when I see how he was living. It spoils it, And the same thing goes for these actors that start spewing off liberal propaganda. But I'll just mention one more, then we'll get back to the politics. William Shatner came out with an anti-woke, very conservative comment this week that he's getting a lot of heat for. The beginning of every Star Trek episode, you hear William Shatner say, "To boldly go where no man has gone before." And all the Star Trek episodes are streaming on the Paramount Plus app. I have the Paramount Plus app, and I've been rewatching in order all the original Star Trek series. And William Shatner pointed out that on every episode where he says to boldly go where no man has gone before, that they've garbled the words to make it hard to hear. That Paramount, through their liberalism on their app, garbles that part out. And he was ticked. And he was talking about wokeism and how dare they do this, and everything else. So that when you get an actor who comes out of the closet as a conservative, that makes me feel good. But when you find out they're liberal, I just can't enjoy their performances too much anymore. Now, I heard from one of our listeners yesterday, Steve. They told me with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, they lost 20 pounds in 16 days.
Wow.
One of our listeners, 20 pounds in 16 days. Yeah, they just told me this yesterday. Isn't that something? And they're still on the program, so they're continuing to lose weight. They're losing weight faster than I did. 20 pounds in 16 days with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. That's one of our listeners. And yesterday I had an appointment with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and I had to make the big decision. Am I going to continue to lose weight or stay where I'm at and maintain it? And I said, I think I've lost enough, because I've lost much more than I set my goal to. So now I'm in the maintain phase of the plan, and it's as easy as the losing part. And I was a little nervous about doing it because I've never been on a diet, not officially, and to do it on the air, if I couldn't do it, it'd be embarrassing for me. And I was actually on the Coastal Weight Loss Secret for 2 weeks before I told you guys on the air, because I wanted to make sure that I could do it and that it worked. And man, does it ever. You give them a call. If you want to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 150 pounds, or even more, they can help you. And I want to emphasize, I'm eating foods I would normally eat. My wife and I, since our daughter grew up and moved out, we don't cook at home. Every meal is out or takeout, okay? So I'm eating foods I would normally eat. I'm not hungry ever. And if you remember, before Coastal Weight Loss Secret was a part of my life, all the time I'd be telling you guys, I'm starving. I can't wait to get off the air and eat something. I'm not even hungry anymore. And I've lost all this weight. And I'm looking forward to going out and starting to buy new pants, because my pants don't fit me anymore. I've lost so much weight. I was waiting to get to where I was going to go before I went out and bought the new clothes. Give them a call. Now, when you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561.
What's the number?
I'm giving it now. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, we're going to take our break and be right back. Hey, Barry. Great. Oh, we can hear you perfect. Hold on. Steve, you there?
I am.
All right, I'm going to conference in Barry Siegel. Hold on. All right, Barry, stand by. We're in break for just about another minute.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, what do you have for us this morning?
Good morning, Brian. What I have for you is not all estate plans are the same. All of them don't work. All of them don't have the same provisions, the same language, and the difference could make a huge difference. What we don't want to do is shortchange ourselves, and definitely we don't want to shortchange our loved ones by going with something that you may have chosen simply because it cost less. It was cheaper. And look, if all estate plans were the same, then the only thing I could ethically say to you, to anybody who's having this conversation with me, is go get the cheap one. Go online or go wherever they offer the cheapest plan possible, because if they're all the same, then who cares if they're all the same? So why not? But if they're not all the same, then it would be a good idea to find out why they're not the same. And that's why we offer the free consultations. That's why we offer the free seminars, so you can get this information, so you could learn what you need to know to protect yourself, your loved ones, and gain that peace of mind. Because there are a lot of things where we could save money. I know we're in tough times now, and there's a lot of places where we can cut corners on costs, but there are also things that are super important where we want to make sure it's done right, and your estate plan is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different combinations and eventualities. You want everything taken care of. That's what the Siegel Law Group will do. Now, remember, when you call the Siegel Law Group, make sure you tell them you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. Then you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation. And no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Here's their number: 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk next week.
All right, Brian, thank you.
All right, take care. All right. So, Steve, we got some new information on this MS-13 terrorist. We really have a confession from him that he's a member of MS-13. Okay, so you may have seen the story. This idiot Democrat, Van Hollen, met with him yesterday in El Salvador. Did you see this?
I'm amazed they permitted it.
Oh, no. The president of El Salvador is brilliant. He must have gone to the Donald Trump school of being president, because what he did was so epic. Van Hollen is too stupid to know this, okay? He was completely humiliated during this meeting. Have you seen this? Have you seen the photographs?
I haven't. But the
oh my goodness! It's the front.
Itself is humiliating.
It's the front page of the New York Post. Okay, if you got your New York Post this morning, but
I
here,
do, as a matter of
yeah,
fact.
well, look through it. Okay, now listen to this. So they've been telling us that this Garcia is in a gulag. he's sitting down. It looks, Steve, like they're at a vacation resort, like Sandals, El Salvador. You've got Van Hollen sitting down with Garcia, and they're drinking margaritas. And they got a whole and he looks great, Garcia. He's clean, he's got new clothes. He's wearing this nice short sleeve shirt, which allows us to see his tats, which is the next part. But you look at this, the photographs, sitting there sipping margaritas at a tropical vacation resort. It looks to me almost like a tourist video to advertise vacation in El Salvador. It was amazing.
Let me ask you a quick question. Looking back at it, who do you think came up with that idea?
The president of the United States and the president of El Salvador, perhaps together. I mean, it was beautiful.
I would say it's a Trump idea.
Oh yeah. I mean, Van Hollen should have gotten out of there when they first told him he couldn't see him, because this is Dukakis in the tank times infinity. This is like the thrill up the leg that Chris Matthews had when Obama was talking. This humiliation will follow Van Hollen for the rest of his political career and in his life. I mean, sitting there with the multiple margaritas was beautiful. So the president of El Salvador, they're out there at this beach, at this vacation resort in El Salvador. Maybe we should. Do cruise ships go to El Salvador? Which side of Central America is it on? Is it on the West Coast? I don't know. Maybe we should take a cruise to El Salvador sometime, Steve, because it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. And we'll tell him that Senator Van Hollen told us to stop by. I've never seen it.
I haven't read the article yet.
Oh, the photographs. Oh, so this was great.
Post cover it.
Oh, this is great. So then they, the El Salvadorian government, these are very smart people in El Salvador. I love El Salvador. I love El Salvador's. Wasn't there a movie with James Woods about El Salvador? Didn't they have like some kind of revolution there in the 80s or something? I don't know. But anyway, it's a great place now. So the El Salvadorian government, this guy that was in a gulag, they have Garcia, this MS-13 guy, very well dressed. He's dressed, he's wearing a nice short sleeve button up shirt and slacks because he's at this tropical resort. It's beautiful. It's hot. It's in the 80s. So so the Democrat. I mean, I love this guy from El Salvador. I love this guy. I mean, I hope to get to meet him. I'd like to meet this guy. He's awesome. So, and he loves Israel. He's a Christian Zionist, okay? He loves Israel, on top of it. I mean, this guy's great. So, the Democrats have been saying all week, we've gotten a lot of calls from these lunatics. Where's the evidence that he's an MS-13? Where's the evidence that he's an MS-13? So he takes a picture standing up, short sleeve shirt. You can see all of his tats, and he's covered in tats. He has an MS-13 gang tag on his fingers. It's let me see what it says. Hold on, let me pull it up. It said I almost didn't graduate college because I had to pass 2 semesters of Spanish. It was very difficult. But it says POSO, P-O-S-O, which is an MS-13 gang tag. And he has it. His fingers are tattooed like Jake and Elwood Blues had their names on their fingers. It's just like that, POSO, which is an MS-13 gang tag. So, so Garcia is meeting this idiot Democrat, Senator Van Hollen from Maryland, and while he's standing there, he's got the MS-13 tat on his fingers. And if you look at the tattoo, it is not new. It's faded because he's had this tattoo for years. He probably got this when he was a teenager. So I take that as a confession that he's MS-13, right? If he's got a very old MS-13 gang tat on his fingers, which that's from what I've been told, finger tattoos really hurt because it's close to the bone and it hurts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and so if you've got an MS-13 gang tat on your fingers, is that a confession that you're MS-13? I think so. So everyone out there, and if you notice, the phones have been light with the defenders today. I don't think we've heard since 6 a.m. I don't think we've heard from a single defender of Garcia because of this Van Hollen meeting. Just totally did them in. I mean, it's beautiful. But
no one has confronted Van Hollen yet.
He might be hiding out in El Salvador for years. I mean, he's going to come back. He's going to come back to a humiliating return to America. I don't know if he's back or not. But if you've got MS-13 gang tats on your fingers, and they're old tats that you've had for years, and you can tell because they're faded. You know.
What is it they say? A picture's worth 1,000 words.
That's right. Don't believe your lying eyes, Steve. So now we have a literal confession that he's MS-13. What else do you need? And MS-13, of course, is a terrorist organization. So, I mean, what else do we need? We got him. I mean, this is it, you know. And it was so funny that the president of El Salvador did this. And then the president of El Salvador released all the photographs pointing all this stuff out. The margaritas, the MS-13 tat. Van Hollen is a clown. I mean, he's like a Keystone senator. I've never seen a senator, United States senators aren't House members. They're supposed to be at an elevated level. I've never, now maybe you got an example that I've been racking my brain this morning.
Did you say anything on the film?
No, it's just still photographs. We don't have the video yet of the meeting. I hope we get it. I can only imagine what they talked about. But that'll be next. Maybe they're going to release it in beats, you know what I mean, for proper media effect. I don't know. You want to release these things in beats if you can, if you have more than one thing, you know, to get maximum impact. But Van Hollen, I mean, Van Hollen should have known he was being set up when they told him the other day, no meeting. Then all of a sudden they got the meeting. You know, if I went in there and they started putting margaritas on the table, I would say, get those out of here. That doesn't look right.
The only difference between the way you see it and the way I see it is giving all the credit to the guy,
El Salvador's president.
The Salvador president. This is straight out of Trump's imagination.
Oh my goodness, Steve. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's, you know, Trump is a brilliant marketer. He knows how to market. You know, advertise.
And it doesn't get more brilliant than this.
Oh, no. I mean, can you think of a U.S. senator being this? The only other the closest I can think of is when John Edwards, he was senator from North Carolina. He was running for president. He impregnated that campaign worker, and the reporters chased him into the stall of a men's room. Remember that? And they were asking him questions through the door of the men's room stall. That was pretty bad. But this is worse. This is worse, all right, because we got the evidence on the man's hand that he's MS-13. This is, isn't it? It's awesome. It's awesome. Now, I want to tell you guys about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, all this talk about, the stock market, it's up, it's down, the 401ks. Don't worry about that stuff. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas. Get into with annuities, no matter what happens in the market, your nest egg is safe. That's right. And I was surprised to learn from Joe Thomas that the Florida Lottery, the Florida Lottery Fund is an annuity because they don't want to risk the money, right? So the money's never at risk. And most pensions are in annuities too. I did not know that. I thought they were just in the market or 401k type things. They're annuities too because with annuities, your money's safe. And I know a lot of people have 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, But what none of them have that annuities do is those products, they do not guarantee you an income stream for the rest of your life. Joe Thomas was in studio a couple weeks ago, and I said, when someone comes to you who's a high net worth earner and somebody comes to you who's, a middle-class person, what are the different things that they ask for? He says they ask for the same thing. They want to have their money safe and have an income stream. That they all want that, and that's what you'll get. Now, Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States. I'm going to give you his number. Give him a call. He'll talk to you. He'll ask you some questions, and then he's going to put together a custom proposal based on your situation and your goals. A completely custom proposal. Here's the number: 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll get back to the phones in the next hour. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, hang in there. And remember, Friday is open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. The show prep is up to you guys. But I'll tell you, Steve, 2 hours, not one defender of Garcia after this meeting at the resort in El Salvador with margaritas yesterday. So maybe that's over. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll be back after this. All right, you're all welcome to call in. The call-in number is in the chat. Steve, you there?
I'm here.
All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number is in the live chat there. 888-465-2631. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show on the radio since 1977. Did you hear about Mark Levin?
I did not.
Oh, he got a big appointment from President Trump yesterday.
He deserves it. Believe me, he's one of the best spokespeople we have.
He named Mark Levin to the Homeland Security Advisory Council.
All right.
So I don't know what that exactly means, but it's President Donald Trump.
It means he's advising him. Mark's got the background in law, so it means that he's advising him in terms of all these dealing with these immigrant problems.
And
by the way, this is the second thing that we saw, this photo shoot with the bad guy from. I keep saying Venezuela, but it's not Venezuela.
El Salvador.
El Salvador. Well, they all look alike. Anyway, this is the second round of pictures. Remember what the first round was? The first round of pictures they shot were the opposite of these. They were inhospitable. They were the guys checking in at the prison, getting their heads shaved and walking them bent over.
You saw. Oh, okay, you got out the New York Post and you saw the Van Hollen meeting.
I didn't have it yet, but you described it very accurately. I mean, very vividly.
Yeah.
But they do these photo ops when it's to their advantage, public relations-wise, depending on what they're trying to do. They were trying to scare the crap out of the guys they're trying to get to self-support, and that's when we shot those entrance exams when they were admitting them into the facility, and they made it look like a hellhole. And now they're looking for a different effect, so they changed the plot line.
Well, you know that the video and the photos, that wasn't him. That was fake news. You know, they did El Salvador did kind of like I don't know. They did a video showing how the prisoners are treated quite some time ago. And that's what we've seen, right? The guys are walking around in white boxer shorts with no shirts on, and they're all hunched over with the head shaven. And that was something they did, I don't know how long ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago. And they did that and released it as a crime deterrent. Like, if you do crime in El Salvador, this is where you're going. It's like a boot camp prison, but for life, right? And the fake, and at the beginning of the week, I said to a caller mentioned that picture from the prison that they had in all the newspapers and on television. And I said, how do we even know that's him? And obviously it wasn't, because he's fat, all right? The picture of the guy was thin. It's not him. So they were showing the picture of another prisoner.
They show that they've mastered the art of public relations beautifully.
Yeah. That's certainly true. I didn't think about this, what you were talking about with Mark Levin. So Mark Levin, just to recap, he's been appointed by President Trump to the Homeland Security Advisory Council. And I was trying to make sense of it. He's also going to be on there with Bo Dietl, who you see on TV all the time. I like Bo Dietl, and some other people that aren't as famous. And since this is just an advisory council, Mark Levin doesn't have to leave his show. So he'll still be on Fox and still be doing his radio show and stuff. It's not...
He does a lot of good, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. But I didn't think about that. I thought, this sounds just like some, he's just throwing him a bone. But no, he wants his legal advice to Homeland Security on the deportations and everything.
He's got the best people. That's the amazing genius of Trump. He surrounds himself with all geniuses and gets the best advice from everybody.
Well, when it comes to the law in this country, I would say Mark Levin is probably the best conservative thinker and expert on the law in the country.
That's where I get all my information.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I would not be surprised.
I'm calling you all the time saying, did you see the Mark Levin show last
I think his TV show is
night?
boring. He makes a lot of good points, but I find his TV show terminal.
He does incredible stuff.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of his as you. I mean, I agree with the stuff he says. I just find him
he's got
boring.
an incredible background. He's just very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
He's a great appointee, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I would not be surprised if we saw him in some of these federal courts going against these corrupt judges. It would not surprise me at all. You know, and I think it's a good pick. This is a great pick, and hopefully that'll put him in a position to advise Tom Homan and the Homeland Secretary and everyone else. All right, Steve, the phones are ringing off the hook, so I'm gonna have to put you on hold just for a second and get all these conference together. All right, are you back with me, Steve? Hold on. All right, you back with me, Steve?
I'm with you.
Okay, let me take some of these calls. We've been keeping people on hold for a while, but there's a lot been happening, so we had to get it off our chest. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Brian. How are you? This is Barbara in Baltimore. I just want to give some props to President Trump for appointing Mark Levin. Mark Levin is he is one of the best legal minds in this country.
Absolutely.
And it was a very, 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 very smart move. I've got his books. I've got a couple of signed books by Mark because I got to talk to him back in the day when there was Tom Marr out of Baltimore for WCBM. Tom Marr was one of the big radio hosts here. He's passed away. But anyway, that was a very good choice for him to put Mark Levin as a counsel for keeping him advised because Mark's fantastic.
Well, when it comes, listen,
he's
I like Mark Levin. Don't misunderstand. When I say I think his show's boring, it's a little too intellectual and, it's like a legal, but Mark Levin is
that's not surprising. You don't need to apologize for that because that's not your MO for being on top of it.
But the thing about Mark Levin, I think he's probably the most brilliant conservative legal mind in America, and his counsel will go a long way. These judges don't want to mess around with Mark Levin. They don't want to mess around with him. He is very good.
It was a good choice. Have a great weekend.
All right, take care. Appreciate the call. Oh, before we break, Steve, I wanted to talk about Lighthouse Medical and neuropathy. I was talking. You had all those neuropathy symptoms: the burning, the tingling, the dizziness, the no sensation, the pins and needles, everything going on. And I came to realize that back in the day, living with neuropathy is living torture. Back in the days when they had all those terrorists down in Gitmo, if they, instead of waterboarding them, if they would have given them neuropathy, they all would have talked. It's that bad. And, your doctors will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. That is not true. Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano has a treatment for neuropathy that works and it lasts. You had your treatment over 2.5 years ago, Steve, and your neuropathy has not returned. You don't have those symptoms anymore. It's amazing.
That's correct.
Now, Lighthouse Medical, no matter where you're located, they can help you remotely. You don't have to make it to the office. So wherever you are in Florida or the United States, they can help you as well. All right? Their treatment works. Not only with Steve Kane, I've talked to many of our listeners who have been rid of their neuropathy symptoms because of the treatment at Lighthouse Medical. Give them a call. Now, when you call, it's important to tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you could take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. It works. Give them a call. And by the way, a lot of people take family members and spouses that have neuropathy in. Okay? So if you have a family member, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, or a spouse suffering from neuropathy, call and make the appointment. Take them in for that free consultation, okay? Okay, now we'll take our first break of the third hour. We'll take some more calls when we get back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, is here. Our number, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Steve, you there?
I am.
All right, hold on. If you're on hold, hang in there. He was a never Trumper. Yeah.
Are you there, Brian?
Yep. We'll be back in just about 30 seconds.
Don't forget to put me on at the end of the go room.
Yeah. I'll have you on to the whole thing, so.
Well, let him do the report first and then tell me I want to talk to me.
Okay.
Afterwards.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. We'll go back to our phones, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Oh, hey, Renee. How you doing?
Renee, what's up?
I'm good. Now, I can convert you to Islam in 2 seconds because you would not like to know that Jesus Christ was a black man. So I think you're going to be a Muslim anytime now. Because Jesus was a black man. So was Moses.
Well, hold on. Let's, for the sake of argument, let's assume that you're correct. Why would that affect it?
Because you guys are racist. You don't like black.
Well,
no, I know. It's a fact.
That's your idea. No, it's not a fact. It's a fact in your people's mind.
Yeah, come on. Don't give me a break. You guys are racist. Let's just get it out of the way.
Listen. This is the thing. If
nothing like having
your whole
Renee, hold on. You can get back to. Hold on a second. The thing about what you said about Jesus, okay? If you're hung up on the skin color of Jesus, you're missing the whole point of Jesus.
You are.
No, we never talk about his skin color. No, we don't.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
you made him white.
I didn't make him anything.
Okay.
But if the skin color of Jesus is not really important to his message and what he and who he is. But this is the thing. This is the thing. Jesus was an Israeli, so the Israelis back then were all black.
He was a Hebrew Israelite, dummy.
Okay.
Israeli. You made that word up. That word doesn't exist.
Are you a Christian?
Oh my God. Will you deal with the subject?
No, are you? What's your religion?
Jesus was a black man.
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Steve.
Israelites.
What is your
black people?
What is your the
people that are in this country right now that
Renee,
African,
I know it's open phones on.
You're not listening.
Your problem is I am. You sound unhinged.
No, you're not.
You don't sound
You
well.
keep talking over me.
No, you're talking over me.
You keep talking over me because you really don't want to hear what I have to say.
Brian, Renee's getting unhinged here.
He is unhinged. What do you think it is? Do you think
you guys can't communicate?
What is your religion?
Oh my God! Why don't you deal with what I'm talking about?
Because you're bringing up stupid stuff.
And you're
what's stupid to you because you're stupid. But I'm talking about things that are very, very real.
What have you brought up that's real? What have you brought up that's real?
Moses, Jesus, the people that you consider Negro are Hebrew Israelites.
All right.
Thank you for your
Oh my goodness. I mean, what a mental patient.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
A total mental patient. I mean, how could you even have a discussion with someone like that? You know, obviously.
It's like playing handball against a wet mattress.
Exactly. I mean, we don't really know what Jesus looked like and Moses, but I would imagine they looked like Muslims look today. They looked Middle Eastern, and they probably had dark skin because they were out in the sun a lot, right? Wearing sandals. So they probably were very dark, Middle Eastern looking people. I don't understand. You know, it's amazing to me with people that have this Afrocentric version of history. Everything came from Africa. Fire, the wheel, everything, right? The traffic lights. If that's true, why are all the black-led countries third world in the world? What happened, right? I mean, you know, if Africa and blacks are the inventors and the root of everything good from the pyramids forward, why are all the countries that are run by blacks that are majority black third world? I don't understand what happened. You know, the United States is the only first world country to have a black leader, Obama. The other countries with minority leaders have not been first world like us. And this revisionist history. Remember we used to have that guy, Tony Harrison, that used to come on, Steve, from the African bookstore?
Yeah, that was fun.
That's like talking to Renee.
Tony Harrison wasn't afraid of answering questions.
Yeah, I wonder what, but I am curious about his religion. I bet you Renee is Muslim because he said he could convert us to Islam in the beginning. Remember? So he,
I don't think Renee is anything.
Just a lunatic.
Yes, a crazy.
Yeah. But aren't most Democrats? I was just looking, by the way, during the break at the Drudge Report, okay? And a lot of people don't know. Yeah, the Drudge Report went left wing a few years ago. And a lot of people think Matt Drudge sold it. I don't know. The headline story, they have the Van Hollen meeting with this MS-13 terrorist. They have the picture there. Of course, he doesn't show the MS-13 tat. But you can see the margaritas. And I think the president of El Salvador had them put extra salt on the rims just to make sure it got picked up in the photographs. But here's the headline in the Drudge Report. Senator meets with hostage in El Salvador. Now he's a hostage?
That's great.
But what, he's being held by his own country? El Salvador?
These guys are in such trouble.
Well, they
were in trouble before this, but this is just a great touch.
Well,
great artistic touch.
Donald
by
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
Oh man, Donald Trump has done a lot of great things. Okay, a lot, and he'll do more in this second term. But one of the greatest things he's done is just completely neutered the media. The mainstream media just cannot get narratives going anymore. They are always trying to get narratives going, but they all crash and burn. They don't even get off the ground.
He's always one step ahead of them.
Well, yeah.
He's always one step ahead of them.
And there's so much transparency with the Trump administration. Like, look at yesterday with the Prime Minister of Italy, right? Had her in the cabinet meeting, taking questions, talking for her. Then they had the press conference, taking questions and talking. Everything is so transparent in the Trump administration.
The whole day since Donald Trump got elected, every day is Donald Trump Day on Fox TV. You follow him through.
I'm
going
to disagree with that.
9 in the morning.
Yeah.
What?
I want to disagree with you. Watch Fox on the weekends. They're pretty anti-Trump.
I watch on the weekends, and I think they're a couple old timers.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call them anti-Trump. They may not be as pro-Trump as the regulars, but they always Trump can always get his narrative out on Fox, no matter when it is.
Yeah.
Middle of the day or night.
Yeah.
They just call somebody up and bang, it appears. He's got his own traveling show.
Well, because
he uses it to advantage every day.
Well, because there's so much transparency. As an example, all the stuff about this guy we talked about yesterday came from Department of Homeland Security and Pam Bondi. They released all these court records and police reports, witness statements. So, and it was totally released yesterday and the day before. The documents, the court records from the wife. You know what's coming next are the photographs of the wife with the black eye, bruised and bloodied by his hands in the courtroom. That's coming next. But because they released everything, when they start to portray this guy as father of the year, and I'm surprised they're not calling him an American hostage. They're calling him a hostage. You know, people don't believe it because they know what's really going on out there. Now, I want to tell everyone, Mike Lindell has an incredible offer going on. There's 2 offers I want to tell you about with our promo code Kane. One, the Percale sheets. Now, I have these Percale sheets. They're spectacular. They come in 11 different colors in every mattress size there is. There's an incredible special going on right now on the Percale bed sheets from MyPillow. With our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, any size, any color, just $25. Whether it's twin, queen, full, king, split king, California king, they're all $25 in any color with our promo code Kane. Pretty good deal. Also, Mike Lindell has a new energy drink, Rev 7. There's no sugar or caffeine, so you don't get the jitters, you don't get the crash. With our promo code Kane, you can get a free 3-pack just to try it out with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. Again, you can use our promo code. I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, then I'll get you after the break. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I talk about. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Okay, Steve, you there?
I am.
Okay, hold on, we're in break. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 1 minute. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve is here. All right, let's go back to our phones on this open MAGA mic Good Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Okay, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Ed from Coral Springs, Florida.
All right, Coral Springs, what's on your mind?
I just wanted to get your thoughts on the anti-Semitism executive orders that have been passed. I'm pretty surprised from a pretty free speech administration that this is happening. What are your thoughts on this?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Trump signed an anti-Semitic executive order?
Yes.
What was the order? Here we go. Get ready on the dump. Yeah? Yeah, okay, that's what
Because I'm pretty surprised.
I'm pretty surprised. Okay, yeah. What an idiot. All right, let's take another one. He was getting ready. He was getting ready to drop the language. It was done. The tip is, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in beautiful Palm City. How are we doing today? Especially you, Steve. No, I haven't heard from you in a while.
I've been here.
But when I call in, you haven't been here, so I'm glad you're here today.
All right. What do you got for us?
Okay. One of the reasons I left the Republican Party, the main one,
because you're a liberal.
The Republican Party used to believe in the rule of law,
we
have an example all week long where it's okay to say, nah, we're really not going to go with what the judges are saying, even the Supreme Court. And I am reminded at the beginning of every show at 6 a.m., the radio station gives a disclaimer that they're not responsible for what Brian has to say.
That's not what it says. That's not what it says.
They're not responsible for your opinions.
They don't say what Brian says. It doesn't say what Brian says.
I understand. I'm improvising a little bit.
Oh, so you're making crap up. Okay, you're making stuff up. I wonder what else you make up. That's interesting.
Okay, here's what you made up yesterday. When you brought up the Tennessee Star, and you brought up all the allegations that they claim that they reported, who is the Tennessee Star? Do you know anything about them other than what you read?
No, however, that's the information in that story was reported in other sources this morning. I saw. I don't have them in front of me, but
I understand.
Yeah.
But let me help you. Let me help your listeners out, and this is why they got to fact check a lot of what you say.
Yeah, but what they excuse me. What I said about him from the Tennessee Star has been reported in other sources and is factual.
It can be regurgitated. You know, a lot of people on the right believe in what Trump believes in, and that is, if you say it enough times, people will start believing it. That's why due process matters.
Why didn't you tell me?
Let me explain who the Tennessee Star.
No.
Yeah, let me explain who the Tennessee. Let me go. The Tennessee Star.
Take a breath, or you're
let me tell you.
Take a breath, or you're gone.
Just spit it out, never Trumper Steve.
Let's just take a breath. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Now say what you're going to say. Let's get a back and forth dialogue going. All right? Go ahead.
Perfect. I love that. I love that because Brian disconnects the phone line pretty quickly. But in any event, okay. Media Bias Fact Check is a nonpartisan organization that assesses the biases of, I think, like over 800 media outlets. And on the Tennessee Star...
Steve, hang in.
I'm telling. I thought you were going to let me talk.
Tell me what we're
the issue
talking about.
is bringing stuff up And according to that organization, the Tennessee Star is right biased and questionable based on the lack of transparency and acting as a propaganda imposter website through deceptive publishing tactics. That doesn't matter to Brian because he doesn't fact check.
What do they say you're taking issue with?
It was the story I reported yesterday, Steve. They reported that, and this, by the way, this has been widely reported in many other sources, but they were the first to have it. The Tennessee Highway Patrol made a traffic stop with this MS-13er. He was driving a van without a driver's license across state lines, across America. He had 7 passengers in the vehicle. One of them was on the terror watch list, and the Highway Patrol believed he was involved in a human trafficking operation. That's the story that was reported.
Yes, and I'm glad you're saying that's a story. The whole reason why due process matters, and for your audience that don't understand what due process means, that means you're able to go to court before a judge, present evidence, because what you report on the radio is not evidence, they're statements that are uncorroborated. That is the difference.
Well, first off, no, excuse me, that is not true. As I told you, that story has been reported in many media sources. You guys can do the Googling and find it. Yeah, it does.
It's not before a judge.
And there's a police report. Now, so far as this due process talking point that I'm just so tired of, when you're a member of a terrorist organization, even a U.S. citizen,
not proven,
can be
not proven.
Yeah, it is. He's got an MS-13 tattoo on his fingers with his Van Hollen meeting yesterday.
Did you discuss yesterday's appellate ruling, or did you leave that out?
Judges don't run this country. A bunch of guys in robes that may be
one of 3 equal branches.
They're not equal branches. They are not equal branches.
They are 3. Well, then you don't believe in democracy.
No, there's 3 branches of government, but they're not equal. Let me ask you this, Never Trumper Steve. If President Trump, okay, right now there's a negotiation going on with Iran. If President Trump orders an airstrike on the and says they have nuclear weapons, and Judge Boasberg rules that you can't order the airstrike, you have to go to court first and prove they got nuclear weapons there, what should the president do?
That's a fair question.
No, it's not a fair question because that would never happen.
Does that mean you're
that
not
would
going
never
to
happen.
answer it? Does that mean you're
I
not
just did answer it. A judge would not interfere with that kind of foreign decision. That would never happen. But if we go back to 2019 in front of the immigration judge, that judge,
he wouldn't.
That immigration judge, and I quote, had a well-founded fear of that Garcia had a well-founded fear. You're changing the subject. I want to talk about Garcia and the fact that you guys don't believe in democracy.
All right, get your talking point, because I know what this one is. Finish your talking point.
Right. When the immigration judge indicated, and I quote, in 2019, there's a well-founded fear of future persecution from local gangs, which is why he left El Salvador.
Stop. Okay. No, I'm going to comment on that. Last night, Tom Homan was on CNN on Caitlin Collins' program, and she regurgitated that same talking point you just did. Tom Homan said that gang from 2019 doesn't exist anymore because they cleaned house in El Salvador, so that threat no longer exists. And since then, MS-13 has been declared a terrorist organization that he is a member of. So that's why he was sent back.
No evidence of that.
Excuse me, there is evidence of that. I mean, how many? We've got 2 federal. Excuse me, Steve. 2 federal immigration judges says he's MS-13. The police said he's MS-13. Homeland says he's MS-13. Justice says he's MS-13. And El Salvador says he's MS-13. Now today, the latest, Garcia with the MS-13 tat on his fingers. He's himself saying he's MS-13 by the tat.
Issue nonsense. But
it's all fact.
In 2019, okay, but let me ask you this question because no one's really paid attention to this. In 2019, when that one immigration judge said you can't deport him specifically to El Salvador, that was during the Trump administration in 2019. Why didn't the Trump administration deport him somewhere else? Why did they let the whole thing go?
I don't know the answer to that, but he's But MS-13 was not a terrorist organization then. President Trump signed an executive order. Yeah, it does matter.
He was illegal. He was illegal in the country. They had him in a courthouse. Why did
No,
they let
because
him go?
because when they were not, when MS-13 was not a terrorist organization as they now are, okay. At that point, it's a criminal thing. You go through the criminal system. When you're a member of a terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, MS-13, Trinidad de Agua, you don't go through the criminal courts. It goes through Homeland Security and you're out. You know this. You're not completely stupid.
Exactly.
Here's my prediction.
Here's my prediction. To be stupid? Why are
Steve, come on, Steve, you're better than this. Here's my prediction. Let's see if it happens.
Why are you
what is the
pretending
question?
to be stupid?
Yes, good question.
Why are you pretending to be stupid?
Yeah, because I don't appreciate your remark. It's not worthy of being answered.
Oh, so
okay?
you're admitting
That's
you're
why.
playing stupid. Oh, he just admitted he's playing stupid.
Come on. Let's not
All right, appreciate the call. Yeah, well, on that.
Thank you for your call.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, he knew when to get out.
Yeah. Know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away.
Know when to run.
And you don't count your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be plenty of time for counting when the dealing's done. All right, now I was telling you in the last hour. I say if I'm gonna put you on hold as we go to break, but I was telling Steve in the last hour that one of our listeners reached out to me yesterday in our live chat, and thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret, they lost 20 pounds in 16 days, and they're still losing 20 pounds in 16 days. It's amazing. It works, guys. And remember, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I'm doing zero exercise. Other than the running of my mouth, of course. I'm not taking any medication, no Ozempic, and I'm eating foods I would normally eat, okay? And I've lost all this weight. I've lost over 30 pounds. It's absolutely amazing. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You can have the same experience. No matter how much you want to lose, 20 pounds, 50, 100, 150, or even more, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you. Now, when I give you the number, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back. Hey, William, hold on. We're on our break still. Stand by. Steve, you there? Steve? Hey, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, are you there?
Yeah, hold on. Stand by. All right, William, stand by.
Okay. I think we're together.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our final gold and precious metals report of the week. How the metals ending up the week, William Youngerman?
Well, the metals are closed today, Brian, so for the holiday, but we are trading today, and we will be open. Yesterday we saw gold close down just $14.60 cents at $3,327 the ounce after trading in a range of $32.82 all the way up to $33.35. That on the heels of Wednesday's miraculous move of $112.50. Wednesday closing gold at $3,341.60 the ounce.
Wow.
That would have, of course, expect us to see some kind of profit taking, and it certainly gave us a little bit of an opportunity yesterday as gold went down, tested that $3,300 number, went down a little bit below that, got down to $32.82, and then came screaming back up through $3,300 to close at $3,327 the ounce, only down $14.60 on a day after gold was up $112. So this market is red hot, very strong. And like I've been saying for the last year, you've got to buy the dips.
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, gold probably will, or gold yesterday closed $33.27. Silver was down 20 cents at $32.53. Platinum was unchanged at $9.66. And palladium closed down $12 at $9.44. For the purpose of trading today, the spread currently is they're using $3,323 to $3,333, and that's pretty much where we'll be trading the markets today.
All right, so let me ask you, because I want to make sure you're open normal hours today.
Yes, we are.
Okay, now Steve, you had something on the metals you wanted to bring up.
William, how are you this morning?
Great, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing real good, but I have a question that as I was falling asleep, kept bugging me, and I said I got to ask William tomorrow. As you look at this period, what's going on? The metals obviously are doing really well of late. Do you, in your professional opinion, because you're about the most knowledgeable person I know when it comes to the precious metals, do you view this, what's going on now, as a spike in gold, or do you view it as the beginning of a new price range in gold?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, this is not a normal, just a spike in gold or an event taking place by just some, maybe somebody trying to buy up the market or something like that. This is something altogether different. This is a change in gold's role that it plays in national or international affairs as far as monetary is concerned. It is a huge switch, and that's why you're seeing things like Bitcoin not go anywhere in this big move, and people are going to something that is secure and has been money for 5,000 years. And the banks, the central banks, are buying it up like crazy. China has changed its rulings concerning the amount that their citizens can import. They've lifted that ban and I think doubled the amount that the Chinese citizens can buy and bring in and import into the country. There is something diametrically different about this rally in the precious metals than we've ever seen before. And that, I think, behooves the fact that we can't even use our old charting ways of looking at this market, but we have to go with the understanding that there's something afloat, that gold is taking on possibly the role that it has played financially for centuries, and that we had put aside as the banks and governments of the world for some time now said, oh, it's just an archaic metal and we don't need it anymore. Well, now they're finding out that archaic metal is about the only thing that sounds or brings stability to a monetary system that is totally out of control with fiat currencies.
Yep.
And this is something that a host of countries now is recognizing.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Well, listen, William Youngerman, even though it's a holiday today, is open regular hours. He opens at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. He's located in Boca Raton at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both William Youngerman's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk on Monday.
Okay, have a great weekend.
All right, take care. Yeah, it seems to me, Steve, maybe we're seeing like the true value of gold now, right?
It looks that way to me. I mean, I think we're in a place we've never been before.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. All right, back to our phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
From Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen, what's up?
Joellen from. Hey there. Oh, that Steve is so
warped,
disturbing. I'm telling you. You know, not you, Steve.
Never Trumper
everybody
Steve.
wants to think that. Yes, never Trumper Steve. Everybody wants to think that they know the facts when they don't. When nobody knows the facts, the real truth behind what they're holding this guy on or what they're accusing him of. Just like George Floyd and some of these other cases, they don't come out and tell.
No, Joan, I want to disagree with you. The Trump administration has released documents and police reports and court records, and everything that I've talked about in the last 2 days on this program are from those records. And I'm getting a little frustrated with these liberals because they keep saying stupid things like, where's the evidence? You give them the evidence, and then they say that's not evidence. I mean, where do you go when you're talking to stupidity like that?
Well, they still think that they need due process.
They're trying to gaslight us with that talking point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very simple. I mean, the bottom line of all of this is which court has jurisdiction
over the president.
The fact is
None.
Exactly. And in this situation, the fact is that the Venezuela courts have
El Salvador.
Have El Salvador. Keep screwing that up. The El Salvador courts have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And it's that simple.
Yeah.
So it's up to them.
And they're trying to portray him now as an American hostage. He's Central American, not United States of American, and he's not a hostage. He's a prisoner because he's a criminal and a terrorist.
Yeah. Well, I say, I guess just
good riddance.
Discard these people and don't even. I'm so sick of talking about this guy.
It's over.
No, this is great.
They made fools of themselves.
The Democrats.
Yeah, you're right because. You're right, because it's just showing how these people support these criminals. And like you said, I think in yesterday's show about Trump is just playing them along, just letting them talk,
Absolutely.
All right.
All things like a great theatrical production.
Yeah, go ahead, Joan.
Yeah. Did you see Adam Kinzinger? He's talking about going out to the streets to riot. Why they keep him in the Republican Party is beyond me.
Well, people can register as whatever they want. Like David Duke was a registered Republican. You can't, it's like I was talking to Steve earlier about Shapiro. You can't excommunicate a Jew. I mean, anybody can register as I could register as a Democrat.
No, I'm not saying that. But Adam Kinzinger, is he not in the Congress?
Yeah, listen, there's always going to be liberals and there's always going to be establishment Republicans and never Trumpers. But letting these people talk and spread their garbage helps us. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. But I mean, like never Trumpers. When these Democrats are talking, everybody knows what the true story is now, right? So when they keep telling you there's no evidence in due process, that gaslighting talking point, that only works in their own little circle. That makes sense to other Democrats, and there's not that many Democrats like there used to be. This is a MAGA country. President Trump just won a national election, and he won all of the battleground states, remember.
And the anti-Trump people are just out in outer space.
And they
just don't get it.
And they're few in numbers. They're not as numerous as they used to be, and there's fewer of them every day. Because of these wackadoodle positions. They keep talking about 80-20 issues. These are 99-1 issues. And they're taking the 1%, the 2%.
They're not happening by accident. They're happening because the Trump team knows how to set them up.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump and all of the Trump people do this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's one series of disasters. It's not an accident that they're on the wrong side of every issue.
Yeah.
The anti-Trump people.
Yeah.
They're set up that way.
Exactly.
They're being played like a fiddle.
Oh yeah. And I'm telling you, the photographs from the court of the wife with black eyes and everything, that's coming. And, President Trump understands how to use media. And when I mentioned beats earlier, when you have a story and you're trying to accomplish something in the media, you let a little bit out at a time, at a time. And these Democrats are digging their hole. More and more is coming out. Like yesterday with
every day it's a new one.
Yeah, like yesterday with that meeting, and we get the MS-13 tattoo on his fingers. That's another big one. Now they're gonna, much of the mainstream media will ignore that, but Fox won't, and it's all over the internet, so people know. And that's
it's on the stations. It's on the stations that people watch, which is Fox.
Exactly. I mean, CNN and MSNBC have no viewers to speak of.
No listeners. No listeners, no viewers.
No, not at all. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. But I'm going to stick with Senator Kennedy about AOC. It's Operation Let Them Speak. Operation Let Them Speak, because the more that every time a Democrat talks, Trump goes up in the polls. Every single time. Okay? And that's going to continue. And they're going to get...
And you haven't seen the best yet. The best yet to come when David Hogg steps into the spotlight. What a gem he is.
Yeah. All right. We're almost out of time. But I do, before we go, want to tell everybody one more time about Lighthouse Medical and their neuropathy treatment. If you or someone in your family have neuropathy, I don't have to tell you, it is living torture. Lighthouse Medical in Pompano has a treatment for neuropathy that works. I've seen it work on Steve Kane and many of our listeners. Not only that, their treatment for neuropathy works, rid you of your neuropathy symptoms, and it lasts. Because, Steve, you had your treatment over 2.5 years ago, and your symptoms have not returned. It is absolutely amazing. Now, when you call, I'm going to give you their number. When you call Lighthouse Medical, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you could take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. It works. It'll rid you of your neuropathy symptoms, and it lasts. All right, let me see if I can squeeze in a call or two in the final stretch. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is John from Wisconsin.
Hey, John.
I have an interesting... Hi, Brian, Steve. I have an interesting question. Where does this guy work? Is he on welfare?
What guy?
Has he got a job?
No, he works for MS-13. He works for MS-13 when he's in Maryland.
Exactly. You're correct.
Now, I'm sure it's under the table. We don't have any...
Blocking over that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, we don't have any tax documents. I mean, MS-13 pays under the table. But yeah.
Yeah, they're glossing over that, aren't they?
Good point.
They don't... So I just thought about that. I haven't heard that.
No, that's a great question. I love it. Great question. Boy, we have some smart listeners because no one has thought of that. Well, listen, we're out of time for today. The rest of you on hold, my apologies. We are out of time, but that was usually that last call at the end. It can go south, but that was a great call. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. Everyone have a very happy Easter. Today's a holiday. Probably everybody's off work but us, Steve. And have a very Good Friday, too, all right? It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We will be back live Monday morning at 6 a.m. See you then, guys. Take care. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks, everyone. Over the weekend, on Sunday night at 7 p.m., I'm going to debut our MAGA Cruise video on my YouTube channel here, and there'll be a live chat. So that's Sunday night at 7 p.m. Don't miss that, okay? You'll enjoy it. You'll see what a great time we have, and you'll want to book on our next cruise in next year, which is going to be awesome. We're going to Antigua and some other great locations. All right, everyone. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. All right. And if you're already subscribed, if you could like the video and share the video on your socials, that'd be great. I'll be here over the weekend with live streams and podcasts, so keep an eye out for those. Take care. Thanks for watching, everyone.